Summertime's coming up, so I'm going to show you how to replace your belts for your air conditioner on a 2004 Honda Civic VTech. Now this should work on Honda Civics from 2001 till 2005. This endoscope tool is lovely because you can just see down there with its 6-foot coiled cord and really get down to the deep parts of the engine that you normally would not be able to see. Right there, for example, you can see the worn out belt, a part of it anyhow. As your hand cranks, taking the bolts off. Basically, you're going to want to put your car up on a jack. This is all on the driver's side, so you're going to want to remove the driver's side wheel. This will give you all the torque that you need to remove every part that you need. And this is right there on the driver's side. Like I said, it's just beneath your alternator. You're going to take your alternator fluid, actually the overflow valve, which I'll show you in a little bit. You just got to kind of move it out of the way just so you can get the proper angles and get to these bolts, especially the upper nut. And down there is the lower nut. And you can see with endoscope, while one man's down at the bottom, one man's looking up here, telling him if he's on the nut or whatnot. Plus the endoscope also has a flashlight on the tip with different light variables to different levels. So you are now looking at the engine over top and now at the bottom simultaneously. You do not need an endoscope to perform this, but it did make the procedure that much easier. Not that it's really an easy procedure. Getting these nuts off is a biatch. And as you can see at first, we're just going to turn the tire, crank it far left. But we couldn't really get the torque that you need to get to those bolts. I mean, you can do it that way, but taking the tire off ended up being ultimately much faster and much easier to get the belts off, the old ones off, and to get the new ones on. And if you've never done this before, you'll find that in taking the old belts off, you're learning about, where the bolts go and everything. And so putting them on, the new ones on, rather, just becomes that much easier and that much less tedious. Although you will need some torque, even if you have to use a different kind of tool and just kind of improvise and then throw a tire iron on there to kind of just crank it. And remember, righty's tighty, lefty's loosey, but sometimes that flips if you're going, say, upside down or right side up. But here is, we've got the old belts off, we're putting the new belts on. You see at the bottom it's a little more challenging, especially when you're losing sunlight. Basically, another good reason to have all kinds of flashlights available. And you can see the endoscope light on the tip right there at the very end of the device itself. Light helps. Who would have thunk it, right? So now we're getting the right angle from the top back toward the bottom, and there you go. Kind of prop your screen there where you need it to be. You're basically going to have a total of 4 round components, 2 belts, and the belts are gonna one on each component, right? So one round side to one side of the belt, and then one round side to the other side of the belt. You're gonna have 4 of them because you have 2 belts, okay? And we'll mostly be getting, other than with the endoscope, the upper top views here and the endoscope there. You can see underneath what's going on with the belts. Now when we first replaced the belts, it was making a louder than before, louder than ever, squeaking, squealy noise. and the AC wasn't working. It's simply because there are two wing nuts, one at the top and one just beneath. Actually, they were missing when we started on this engine, oddly. So I thought maybe just replacing the belts, since the wings aren't there anyways, would do the trick, but no. It just made it grind up more, and ultimately we need to replace the wings. Um, you can look for part supply places. There's the old belts. You can see how worn and torn and frayed they are. You see that? And that's what was causing them to squeak. Getting the new belts on in comparison to taking those off is a cinch. But you see that hole? That hole is where the wing nut goes on the top, and then one just below it. Otherwise, that whole section will shake and vibrate. Now that the plate with the wing nut is on and properly placed and tightened, both top and bottom, tightly fastened and secured, you can see that this will no longer be shaking all over the place. Everything's tight now. You can just see the nuts under there, so it's a little hard to get to, and it's a little bit hard to see. But like I said, once you get those AC belts off, putting them on should be much easier. And you just really want to make sure that you get that wing nut on the top and on the bottom after the job, because they make the whole section just kind of, well, they make it move several inches. So you can see we can try different tools even if you don't have the proper torque wrench. Obviously it makes it exceedingly more difficult, but you can still get the job done. This did take 3 different tries and attempts, but eventually, with the right tools and the right parts, you just need to get your socket wrench in there. And the thinner the wrench, the easier it will be to get. That's the reservoir overflow with the red cap you just saw. You take that out very easily, but now it's not even making any noise. It's not squealing at all. It's smooth sailing. My air conditioner's working. I can take this bad boy for a ride and just feel groovy, because I know it's not gonna squeak, and I'm gonna get the proper air conditioner that I need this summer and not overheat, basically. So thank you for watching. God bless you all. Mwah. One love. Subscribe to the. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit that notifications bell for all the latest and greatest.